On June 5, 2025, as dusk fell over the Gulf of Thailand, a violent storm erupted with little warning. The sky, once a deep blue, was quickly swallowed by churning black clouds. Lightning forked across the horizon, illuminating the restless sea below. Winds howled, lashing the water into a frenzy, and the tranquil surface was transformed into a heaving, chaotic expanse. What had been calm waters just hours before now became a scene of raw, untamed power. Waves rose like mountains, crashing into each other and sending spray high into the air. The storm's fury seemed relentless, as if the sea itself was rebelling against the sky. In the midst of this chaos, the supertanker Phoenix Jamnagar, anchored 20 kilometers off the coast of Sriracha, fought to maintain its position. The massive vessel was in the process of transferring crude oil to an undersea pipeline, a delicate operation even in perfect weather, now made perilous by the storm's onslaught. The ship's mooring system groaned under the strain, cables stretched to their limits as the Phoenix Jamnagar pitched and rolled. Every wave threatened to break the fragile connection holding the tanker in place, and the crew worked frantically to monitor the situation. Suddenly, with a jolt, the floating oil transfer hoses disconnected from the ship. This was not a catastrophic failure, but a planned safety release, an emergency measure designed to prevent even greater disaster if the ship broke free. Yet, in that critical moment, crude oil began to seep from the disconnected hoses into the raging sea. The storm's violence made it impossible to contain the leak, and black oil quickly spread across the surface, swirling in the turbulent water. By dawn, as the storm clouds parted and the first light touched the water, a sprawling, iridescent slick had formed. It covered nearly 30 square kilometers, drifting steadily southward, a creeping toxic threat to marine life, fisheries, and the vulnerable coastlines beyond. What began as a small, contained leak was whipped by the storm into a vast, sinister stain. The oil, once hidden beneath the waves, now floated in plain sight, a stark reminder of the night's devastation. The fate of this precious stretch of ocean now hung in the balance. The drama had only just begun, and the world would soon be watching as the true scale of the disaster unfolded. The crisis began quietly, with the supertanker's connection to a single buoy mooring, an engineering marvel that allows massive ships to safely transfer oil far from shore. This system, known as SBM, is designed to withstand the relentless forces of the open sea, enabling the efficient movement of millions of barrels of crude oil every year. But even the most advanced technology has its limits. On this fateful day, the weather turned treacherous. Towering waves and howling winds battered the tanker, testing every bolt and weld. The SBM, usually a symbol of stability, became a point of vulnerability in the face of such severe weather. At the heart of the system is the breakaway coupling, a critical safety device engineered to snap apart under extreme tension. Its purpose is to prevent catastrophic ruptures that could spill far more oil, or even endanger lives. In this moment, the coupling performed exactly as designed, separating the hose and averting a much larger disaster. Yet, this very safety feature created a brief but dangerous window. As the system automatically shut down, oil continued to escape from the disconnected hose for nearly 30 minutes. The crew scrambled to contain the leak, but the process could not be instant. In that short span, roughly 20,000 liters of crude oil bled into the sea. It wasn't a massive torrent, but it was enough to create a visible slick and trigger an environmental emergency. Even a relatively small spill can have outsized impacts on marine life and coastal ecosystems. The paradox is striking. A system working exactly as intended still resulted in a spill. The breakaway coupling did its job, but the ocean found a way to exploit the brief moment of vulnerability. Even with advanced safety protocols and constant vigilance, the sheer power of the ocean can expose weaknesses in any system. Nature's unpredictability remains a formidable adversary. The storm forced the safety system to act, but the necessary delay in shutting down the flow allowed oil to escape. The crew's training and the ship's technology minimized the damage but could not prevent it entirely. This incident highlights the ever-present risks of transporting oil in challenging marine environments. Every transfer, no matter how routine, carries the potential for disaster when nature intervenes. As the oil spread across the water, the stage was set for a massive cleanup effort, one that would test the limits of human ingenuity and resolve in the face of environmental crisis. At the heart of the incident was the Phoenix Jamnagar, a massive supertanker owned by Mitsui OSK Lines. This vessel, stretching hundreds of meters in length and carrying vast quantities of crude oil, was a floating giant, one of the largest ships to traverse the world's oceans. Its journey, like so many others, was part of the intricate web that keeps the global energy supply moving. The Phoenix Jamnagar was chartered by Thai Oil Public Company Limited, a major player in Southeast Asia's energy sector. Thai Oil's operations are crucial to Thailand's economy, providing fuel and energy to millions, and supporting a network of industries that rely on a steady flow of oil. The spill occurred near the SBM-2 terminal in the Gulf of Thailand, a region vital for shipping, tourism, and marine biodiversity. The Gulf is a lifeline for the country, with busy shipping lanes that connect Thailand to the rest of the world, and pristine waters that attract tourists from across the globe. The area supports fragile coral reefs, fishing grounds, and countless livelihoods, all now threatened by the advancing slick. Local fishermen depend on these waters for their daily catch, while vibrant coral ecosystems provide shelter for marine life and draw divers and nature lovers. Responsibility fell on a network of global players: the Japanese shipowner, the Thai charterer, and the Singapore-flagged vessel. Each brought their own interests, expertise, and obligations to the table, highlighting the truly international nature of modern oil transport. Thai Oil led the emergency response, mobilizing teams and resources within hours of the spill. Their swift action was critical in containing the damage and reassuring the public that every effort was being made to protect the environment. Mitsui O.S.K. Lines, as the ship's owner, coordinated closely with Thai Oil and international authorities, navigating complex regulations and logistical challenges. Their cooperation was essential in mounting an effective response. The incident underscored the interconnectedness of the global oil trade and the shared accountability for environmental protection. When disaster strikes, borders blur, and the responsibility to act transcends national interests. The challenge was not just technical, but legal, financial, and reputational. Questions of liability, compensation, and long-term impact loomed large, as stakeholders scrambled to assess the full scope of the crisis. The world was watching how these industry giants would respond. News outlets broadcast images of the spill across continents, and public scrutiny intensified as updates unfolded in real time. The health of the Gulf and the credibility of its stewards was on the line. Local communities, environmentalists, and government officials all demanded answers and action, knowing that the consequences would be felt for years to come. The stakes could not have been higher. In this moment, the actions of a few would determine the fate of an entire ecosystem and set a precedent for how the world manages the risks of the global oil trade. Once the spill was confirmed, emergency protocols snapped into action, uniting government, military, and industry. Thai Oil initiated the response, but the scale demanded a national effort. The Royal Thai Navy, Marine Department, and Chonburi Disaster Prevention Office mobilized, with the warship HTMS Tachai as a command center. Private sector rivals, including PTT and Bangchak, joined forces, pooling expertise and equipment. This collaboration was the result of years of joint drills and planning. The response was swift, organized, and comprehensive, a testament to preparation and shared purpose. The fight to protect Thailand's marine environment had begun in earnest. The battle against the oil slick began with containment. Response vessels deployed concentric booms, trapping the thickest oil within a secure perimeter. Chemical dispersants were sprayed by boats and helicopters, breaking the oil into smaller droplets for natural degradation. Oil skimmers worked tirelessly inside the boom zone, separating oil from water and transferring it to storage tanks. Aerial surveillance guided the operation, ensuring resources targeted the slick's most critical areas. The operation was a high-stakes choreography of machinery and manpower. Real-time data from planes and helicopters allowed rapid adjustments. Every action was aimed at stopping the slick before it could reach the coast. The fight was relentless, combining technology and teamwork. The cleanup was a race against time, with the goal to contain and remove the oil before it reached Chonburi's sensitive coast. Crews worked around the clock, battling fatigue and rough seas. The Royal Thai Navy's aerial surveillance mapped the slick's movement, guiding response boats and helicopters. Teams maintained booms, operated skimmers, and applied dispersants to break up the oil. Protective gear and strict safety protocols were essential, as fumes and heavy machinery posed constant risks. The process was painstaking, but the sense of urgency united everyone. By 3:10 p.m. on June 6, aerial surveys reported no visible thick slicks remaining. The bulk of the spill had been contained and removed. By 4:19 p.m., the situation was declared under control. The immediate threat to the coastline had been averted. While 20,000 liters of oil spilled, the disaster could have been far worse. The breakaway coupling and emergency shutdown systems functioned as designed, preventing a catastrophic rupture. Automated valves sealed the pipeline, limiting the spill to oil trapped in the hoses. The tanker and pipeline remained structurally sound, with no injuries reported. This incident proved the value of robust engineering and layered safety systems. The system bent, but did not break. The spill was a consequence of safety systems in action, not their failure. It was a costly lesson, but one that affirmed the importance of preventative engineering. When accidents happen, preparation can turn disaster into a manageable incident. Even a quickly contained oil spill is a shock to the marine environment. Crude oil suffocates seabirds, clogs the blowholes of marine mammals, and smothers sea turtles. The damage runs deep. Oil sinks, poisoning coral reefs and contaminating the food chain. Toxins persist in sediment, threatening fish, shellfish, and ultimately human health. The Gulf of Thailand's rich biodiversity and local economies are at risk. Rapid response made a difference, but every liter of oil removed mattered. Protecting our oceans is a necessity, not an option. The incident is a stark warning about the environmental cost of fossil fuels. Our responsibility as stewards of the sea has never been clearer. The Phoenix Jamnagar spill showed that swift, coordinated action can avert disaster. Government, military, and industry worked as one, proving the power of preparation and teamwork. Regular drills and clear communication paid off when it mattered most. The event is a lesson for all nations: invest in training, technology, and cooperation. As long as we transport oil, risks remain, but vigilance and innovation can reduce them. The price of an accident is paid by fragile ecosystems. Yet the response in Thailand offers hope. United, we can protect our oceans. By learning from this event, we move closer to a future of safer seas and resilient marine life.